Welcome to Pass the Line, a podcast about Africa, science, and gender, brought to you by Women for Africa Foundation. I'm Antonina Cupe, Communications Coordinator, and I'll be your host. Today, we will be talking about diseases that affect 1.7 billion people worldwide and are still called neglected, and also about being a woman and doing science on a continent where around only 2% of researchers are women. With me today are three fantastic women. Cathy Soh Kamdjo, a scientist and researcher from Cameroon, who is currently doing her PhD program at University of León. We have Cristina Juan from Anesvad Foundation, and we have my dear colleague, Beatriz Santacruz. So before we dive in, I would like for the three of you to introduce yourselves. So, Cathy?
I'm Cathy. Thank you, Antonina. I'm Cathy Soh Kamdjo. I'm from Cameroon, and like you introduced before, I'm currently making my PhD in University of León, and my research is focused on neglected tropical diseases and particularly leishmaniasis visceral.
Okay, thank you so much. I am really happy to be here. My name is Cristina. I am working at the research unit at Anesvad Foundation, and it's a pleasure being with all of you.
Thank you so much, Antonina. My name is Beatriz Santacruz. I'm a coordinator of health and education programs at the Women for Africa Foundation, and my main responsibility is to lead the Learn Africa program, of which we will discuss here.
Okay, so for listeners who have never heard the term NTDs, neglected tropical diseases, what are they?
Neglected tropical diseases are like a group of diseases. They say that it's like around 20. Well, there is not a consensus scientifically because they say 20, but it's like other thing that is more than 20. But it's around 20 diseases that affect a region that is very poor, and that there is a lot funding on it. So they say neglected, not because of it's just like the people is reduced, no, but it's because the people that are affected is like people from poor region, and this don't affect people from rich region, and this make these people think that it's neglected. Neglected, we don't have funding. Neglected because those people is abandoned. And this is a little why it's called neglected. So it's not neglected in the way of biologically neglected, but it's more about structural. It's like all the thing around. Yeah.
Okay. So, I mean, you're a woman of science. I think I'm more of a woman of words because I'm a journalist. So I think I want to pause for a second when it comes to the word neglected, because when I think about it, I'm the first question that comes to my mind is neglected by whom? By the countries most affected by these diseases? Is it neglected by high-income countries? Is it neglected by global health agendas, by pharmaceuticals in the West? What is or who is neglecting these diseases?
I think they decided like pharmaceutical to politics, because people that is living in this poor region, they don't have the they don't have the resources, to implement something to face the problem. So it's neglected from pharmaceutical because the pharma is like a capitalist, capitalism economy. Companies. So they need something that can bring them money. And this is affecting people very poor, And essentially, for example, from the pipeline to make a drug to come in the market, we need at least 20 years. It's a long time. And this is, it need a lot of resources, financial resources, until people, working on it. So this disease is those people, if they invest, they need to have benefits, profit after. But those regions affected will not be able to, to fund this kind of research that can help them to face the problem that they have. So pharmaceutical are there, political are there, global health, even if there are some NGO, a non-governmental organization, or some research research group like my group, where I'm like currently making my PhD, working on it, but it's not enough. So we still need like people to invest in this kind of thing. Maybe I'm talking a lot, going through the thing that is not. But for your question, essentially, it's like this is a thing. So neglected is neglected by politics, by decider, people who take decisions, people who have power to invest and to help, the problem. So this is the way I see the thing. I don't know.
Yeah, I totally agree with you because also there are not like rare disease. There are already know about many people, but many agenda, but that is not like the priority for the political global. And I believe that is the main problem to be neglected. It's true that when we are trying to speak about neglect, it's not like we want to point someone because that is like a global responsibility and everyone need to address that.
I mean, it's funny because when I was reading about it, I was like, okay, I get it. Some people in the scientific world say neglected kind of shines light to the problem. It is neglected, so we need to do something about it. But at the same time, people are saying, okay, maybe, I was saying that global health experts are advocating for terminology that focuses on positive action, shifting towards terms like poverty-related diseases or endemic diseases. So what is your opinion on this? Because I do believe that, for example, for a foundation like Anesvad, it makes a lot of sense to put the focus on these diseases are neglected and what are we doing to fix this. But do you think that there's like a problem with the terminology, as in it puts the focus on what not's being done instead of what is being done on these diseases?
Yeah, it's like when we speak about neglected, it's like they are neglected from global people, no, but not for the people that are affected. That is why sometimes there are some discussion related to the term neglected. When we also speak about tropical diseases, it's like they are only tropical areas, and that is not the reality because, for example, scabies that we have here in Spain, for example, as an example, and there are like a lot of movement between people around the world, and they are not in a tropical area. And I believe that the most important, I understand the point about the discussion of the name, but I believe that the most important thing is like to understand that it's a global problem and we need to focus on that. That will be as a priority for the governments, for the political, for the agenda, and I believe that that is the most important. I understand that, but maybe we need to not focus on the terminology. We need to focus in the problem and we need to address the problems that people with neglected tropical disease have.
Okay. I want to talk a little bit of why you're all in the same room, or well, in the same podcast. Anesvad has been working on the right to health for over 50 years, but I want to understand a bit more about this specific partnership between Anesvad Foundation and Women for Africa Foundation that is happening through the Learn Africa program. So why scholarships specifically for African women researchers?
Maybe where you come and I will help you.
Well, I think African women in science has to deal every day with a lot of obstacles, which are structural. And the main obstacle is access to opportunities. For instance, they don't have enough scholarships to pursue postgraduate education. Sometimes they lack access to international research networks. They are not exposed to mentorship programs, or they don't get any kind of international visibility. So these obstacles affect their capacity to fulfill their potential. And what we do at the Women for Africa Foundation through the Learn Africa program is to remove the obstacles they suffer and they face every day, to so they can reach their full potential and achieve their leadership positions. So what we are doing is not just supporting individual careers, but we are trying to build a generation of African leaders willing to make an impact on their societies. And that's where our partnership with Anesvad Foundation comes, as they have been funding for, I think, 3 years now, scholarships or better research fellowships to conduct research focused on NTDs and gender. So I'll give now the word to Cristina, who will explain better their role in the Learn Africa program.
Yeah, as Bea said, I believe that is so important because when we are speaking about that women have enough skills, they have it, no? It's like we don't have like the term of building capacity. Like maybe we don't need to build capacity because the capacity is still there, but we need to give more opportunities, to open them to other networks, as Bea said. I believe that is the most important thing, and focus on African women. I believe that they also know the context. They also have a lot of sensitive in this area. They know what happened in the countries where they are living, and I believe that is our goal as Anesvad. We try to not create leaders from our side. We need to create their own leaders at African, because we believe that is the better approach, and we need to try to impose that and to help them, and to create this partnership is a good expertise. And also we try to focus on neglected tropical diseases that are not skin neglected tropical diseases that are not there are not a lot of research related to that, and there are not a lot of research, women research related to that, and that open an opportunity, and also to, as Bea said, gender, to another environment, to another thing that for us is also important as at Anesvad Foundation.
So I think Cathy both kind of put a little bit the accent on the importance of having African women from those communities affected by the diseases to lead the research to tackle these problems. So what is the impact of, for example, programs like this on scientists like yourself?
Well, I think a program like this is like, for me, it's like a miracle, if I will say like this, because this open a door and give a bridge for us to get access to international platform that this is not possible from our country. There are some people that from the country, they can have it, but this is more privileged people, I will say like this, but most of the women, like scientist women, because we have a lot across the continent, they are very, like bright mind, like we usually say, but we don't usually have like access with this kind of international platform, this kind of opportunity then give us, enable us, to build. Even you say that we already maybe have capacity and you are just focused on the person, but I think for us to come here, we have like the opportunity to get like the technology from here, where we can apply this like in our society, but not maybe in the same way that they are doing here, because it's like we need to look like solution that we can
adapt to the context.
Exactly. This is the word. Thank you. That we can adapt to the context. So the thing is like, okay, expose us to international network, platform, everything, the research, all about the research. But then we need to be able to go back and to implement this in our society. And I think it's very important that people that are affected like in the first degree with these diseases are part, active part of the fighting. It's not like, essentially sometimes we don't have the good platform to maybe conduct like research from the beginning to the end, and I think this maybe is a part to, is a point where we, politics and people that have like have the power to do that, to have a look to see that, it's better that the people that are really affected, like where the burden is so high, that they are part, because before there was this kind of thing where, people go, they take, for example, simple everything and they left, It's like, okay, scientifically we have publication, we have the name, you have the university, that is foreigner. It's good, it's not, I'm not saying something, but I'm saying that it's good that they are doing that. But I think we need to have like the two power, like both, from
Yeah.
here and to the other side too.
You're talking about real cooperation
Exactly.
in science,
Yes.
which is funny because so many times we think about science as a worldwide thing, and then you realize that in real life, it kind of becomes more vernacular, and it has to adapt to each context. And the same way that I was talking with Dr. Ituno on the first episode, and she was saying this disconnection between like people doing research in their lab in main cities for rural communities, but not being in contact with those communities, and then coming up with ideas that just don't translate because they just don't work with those rural communities. I think you're kind of saying the same thing, that you do need that cooperation so you can have access to technology, etc. But the communities, how you can translate all of this data into real solutions.
Exactly. So this is the thing, because I think we need to involve more women in the research, of course. Like you were talking about gender equity, so we need to focus on it too. But like you said, again, it's like we need to make a good partnership collaboration where like even people from there, I'm talking about researcher, can make, because there are those researchers there, they are living in those communities. It's like researcher here. I'm here in Spain now. Yeah, in my research, I'm making. We are looking for treatment for visceral leishmaniasis. Okay, in Spain we begin to have like some case. Yes, but the big burden is elsewhere. So we need to empower those scientists that can go back and can, like you say, like adapt. And can really translate, this to the community. And this is very important, because essentially before it was like I say, like the people came, they take science, it's good, they want to help too, but finally they are far away from the reality of the people. And this is, I think, is waste time, money and everything. So we need something that we empower both, you help, with the technology. We are here too, and we empower, and we find a solution for the community. Yeah. So this is a little bit my way to see the things.
It's the thing that we say always, like, is diverse teams and diversity making better science. And since we're talking about collaboration and cooperation, I think those are pillars for both Anesvad Foundation and Women for Africa Foundation. I have a question, because equity is one of those words that sound so self-evident. Like we want more equity, but it is not so simple in real life to apply it or to live by it. So I want to know, what does an equitable partnership between African institutions and European institutions look like? And if that is not the case, what are we missing, given your experience with these cooperation programs?
Recently, we have published an article related to that. That name is Decolonizing Neglected Tropical Disease in the Field of Research. That is like very interesting, because that collects a lot of information of also practice that we try to perform and also other institutions are done. And I believe that is like, when you are speaking about equity, it means like the authorship should remain in the research, in the local research. Also, when you are speaking about funding, it's like you fund and you forget. It means like you are giving them the fund, but you are going with them, you are collaborating with them, you speak with them, you understand their need. I believe that is the most important. And also, I believe that there is like we talk about like a partnership or something like that, but that will be like a long-term collaboration. That will be not like a visit and I will come back or bye-bye. I believe we need to stay there and we need to understand. And after that, maybe that training or that research or wherever that finishes, we need to continue the collaboration. Maybe that will be not the same collaboration, but we need to continue. As with all the women that we are fund the scholarship, we try to continue the communication when we travel to the country, to the country where they live. We try to know what happened. Do you need anything? We share also information with them, just in case they are on other networks, other opportunities. And I believe that we need to think about long-term collaboration, or maybe also that the part like mentorship program, in like you have someone and another one that is like per mentorship, not something like that, but not like a training and bye. I believe that we need to focus in that type of equity collaboration in research.
That is a whole discussion, because then it brings like a bigger question in general in cooperation, which is the length of the programs that we carry, which is how impactful can we be if we have 12, 18 or 24 months to do something. And I think in Anesvad, you kind of work a lot in measuring impacts and keeping that contact with the people that you've given scholarships to or you've financed their research. And it makes a lot of sense, so you can continue to build networks of African women scientists or scientists in general who are working tackling those neglected tropical diseases. What is the case for Women for Africa Foundation? Because, well, Learn Africa is one of the oldest programs by the foundation. I think it's over, they started in 2013.
Yes,
Wow.
exactly.
So it's been a while.
It's been a while already. Yes, I totally agree with Cristina, and I think even if we have made a lot of progress in establishing long-term collaborations with African institutions within the Learn Africa program as well, we still need to change the focus from individual scholarship schemes to wider collaborations with university and research institutions in the African continent. For us, it's really important to open the scope, because this will help us continue our task of monitoring and evaluation, so that we can measure the impact we are achieving every day with the program. And for instance, we were just discussing, Cathy and I, before, that I still keep in touch with some of the beneficiaries we had in 2019, 2020. As for us, it's really important to depict the success cases we've got in the program and to show the real impact it has on communities, rather than basing on individual stories of academic excellence or professional achievement. We also need to focus on the community impact, and that's how stronger and wider collaborations with African institutions help us carry out our daily tasks.
I mean, they're talking from a perspective of coordinating programs like this.
Okay.
You have been a beneficiary of these kind of programs. What is your take on it?
Me, I just have like a good word for the foundation, because, like I say, sincerely, this is true in the way where, first, the way to apply for for example, you begin with the master. When I came across like the scholarship.
The call
of, yeah, exactly.
And the call for applications.
Yeah, exactly. I see that all the element that they were looking, that we need to apply, was very simple, because I was looking already scholarship, and sometimes it was very difficult, like
sometimes they make you through for 100 hoops, and by the end of it, you're just tired.
and I was like, whoa! When I cross it, wait, this is very simple. I just need one, like recommendation letter from that. But the other thing is very simple, and I say, okay. So for me already, this was like good, And then I see that, okay, this opportunity is giving, because I'm still, I'm still taking advantage of this opportunity, because my PhD now is under the Learn Africa scholarship program. So I see that this essentially changed life, because for me, this was my first time coming here in Europe, with this scholarship. And this was a dream for me, because I wanted to, to know more, to learn more. Not because in my country there is not like a very skilled professor, scientist, but I have like this dream, to cross other scientists, like far away from my region, to learn things that is different, and to see, to how to say,
experience.
to experience, to grow. This was something that I have like deep inside, and I'm like, okay, I want to learn. Learn not just to learn, but learn because I say that, if I have the good skill, the good knowledge, for sure, because I will apply it very well for my community. Because usually I always say, health is a vocation for me. This was always, essentially,
Sure.
This is always a word that I always say. Health, I'm in the health field, not for money, because I know that sometimes they choose career about like...
or that is investment banking.
Exactly,
Or
no. Essentially, because this is before even, in the second, I said, okay, health, this is a vocation for me. So having this deep inside my mind, I say, okay, this opportunity opened me the first door, the master. I did it. I have great professor. This was in A Coruña where I got this master. And then I went back. But I was still okay, I feel, I want to do more research, a PhD, I begin to think about PhD, but I know this is not easy, there are some calls, but it's very few place for people, and then for women in Africa, sometimes very competitive. It's not just across Africa, it's like across worldwide. So you are like, okay, did I have the right skill for apply or to compete with this place? Maybe it's like 2-3 places with those people. I don't know. So, and I remember that when I got like this, I saw this call of PhD, biomedicine and health science. I said, this is for me. But I was not sure. And I called, like you say, because the person who made, for example, the recommendation letter for me, it was a person from the University of A Coruña. He was the coordinator of my master, Professor Esperanza. If she hear me, she know.
You remember her.
And I remember, this is something that, and I said to her, you see, I just saw that there is a call for a PhD scholarship. She said, Cathy, I'm with you. You have the motivation today. And she got me. So this even empowered me, because when in the moment that I was looking, I was very weak, because the reality to it is sometimes even with this skill, with those skills, you don't have the opportunity maybe to get a job, because this too is a problem too. Yeah. So I was in the case where I say, okay, now I'm here, I want to, but the thing is very, because you don't know the right person, you are not, I say, this is complicated too. So, and I was sharing everything this with her. She said, Cathy, we are here for you, but I think this PhD apply, The first day she made the recommendation letter, this gave me strength to say, Cathy, make everything, don't feel like defeat. There are someone who is skilled that saw you, that thing, then trust you, that so you can make it. And this is why when I apply, and like I see, for me this is still a dream, because so those opportunity for women for Africa or Anesvad, I never benefit, but I know that this benefit other women in across. This is something that I think more, I don't know, organization need to look this kind of thing, to empower women, because we need to have more, how to say, more place or
and access.
Yeah, see, access, but what I was saying, for example, for this PhD in biomedicine and health science, for sure there is a lot of women across the continent that have the right skill that want to apply, but it was just one place.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So this is if we make a lot of this kind of
more opportunities like
that, with other organizations. This will empower much more women in the continent, and we already beneficiary of those programs. We can impact too. We can be the voice to say to those women that was like me before, to say that, don't still dreaming, don't let people put you down, you there are opportunity there, but just be ready in the moment. So this is this kind. So to close everything from your question, because I was talking a lot. I like to talk a lot. I'm passionate about mine.
That's why we're here.
I believe that is so I really like, because we are like, other goal that we want to do is like to improve the confidence of one. And I believe that is a good experience when we are listening to you. I feel like you have that confidence and that leadership, and I'm really happy that this kind of opportunities could give you such expertise, or whatever how to say. But I believe that is also is so important, because that when you communicate, you feel like you have more confidence.
Thank you. So this is so also.
And you're very passionate about what you do. And there's one thing that you said at the beginning, when you were saying, I wanted to leave Cameroon for like to explore. And I felt like you were almost justifying yourself from like leaving your country, which I think is very funny, because when in Europe, it doesn't happen. We all want to be in our 20s. We all want to go to France,
Whatever.
to the UK, to the US, to do this, to do that. And no one thinks anything about it. Like mobility is so like integrated in society that we don't even judge or think twice about it. But when it comes to like African researchers and when it comes to African talent, I feel like this thing of almost justifying, like, it's not that I don't want to live in my country. It's like, I just want to experience something different. I want to be in a different lab. I want to be in a different culture. This is always enriching, even if it's not professionally, but it will be personally or whatever, which I think that you have the right to. Like mobility is a right for everyone. We have the right to migrate. We have the right to go to different places and experience different things. So I'm very happy that you got to experience A Coruña with a master's degree, and that now you're doing your PhD program in León. And it's not only an enriching opportunity for you. I believe that you're enriching a lot of people at university there by having someone like you. Do you know, you're bringing diversity, which is still very important in Spanish universities, because it's not the case. We're not like other countries, to say it in a very vanilla way. But literally it is like you have a really good impact. And even, I don't know, maybe for researchers to have you there and being able to work with someone who has experienced the disease, who has seen it with their own eyes, who knows how it manifests in communities and the impact it has in people's lives, it must be incredibly enriching for them too.
Yeah, but I need to make some clarification there. For example, this leishmaniasis in Cameroon, I never, even when I was working, because I was working a lot of a year, like in the clinical laboratory to make diagnosis, I never crossed in front of like a patient with leishmaniasis.
A real case.
No, a real case. So, and this I will answer in saying that I don't think, because in Cameroon, for example, in the north part, there are some like case that is already reported, visceral leishmaniasis there. Some cases are reported, but across the country, across the other region, nothing. And I think, and the question there is like, is still you clear that this disease is not spreading in the other place? It's just like focus on like north part of the country, or maybe we don't have all the equipment, all the tools to be prepared to diagnose it and to to take. So it's maybe underreported or underdiagnosed. So we need to. This is the field, and this is not just for Cameroon itself. It's like Central Africa, because this leishmaniasis, visceral leishmaniasis or the one from the skin, we can talk about this, or maybe this is even the good moment to make the clarification.
I was going to get to it, but I mean, you beat me, so it's fine.
So maybe I was already like...
I'm happy that you're doing it.
Yeah, so like for leishmaniasis, we have like 3 type of like the form. We have like the one that's affecting the skin, and the one that we call like mucocutaneous, that because this will let people with like some disfiguration, like from, and this, even if there is a treatment, this will be a stigma, when you see someone with some, you are like, okay,
Yeah.
And then the part that I'm currently making my PhD for looking treatment, like we call visceral leishmaniasis, this one is fatal. It's like in 90% of the case, if they don't treat it, the person will die.
It has a 90% death rate.
Exactly.
Wow.
So in 90% of the case, if this is not treated, like the person will die. And the thing is, like, we have right now some treatment, but we have a problem too. Those treatment are long, those treatments have sometimes side effect. So we have like already registered like some resistance that people are publishing. So there is a huge need, to still looking to investigate to find new treatment to face the disease. So, like you said, to enter your question before, in my university, it was my first time to cross across leishmaniasis. But I was happy because, okay, like something that affecting Africa, for me, I'm in, because it's not just like, I'm not.
But it's incredibly interesting because you're saying you don't know if that is a disease affecting a lot of people because you're lacking the tools to monitor what's going on the ground in Cameroon, which is like incredibly interesting. And I guess one of the main problems also with these type of diseases, like you don't even know how they're spreading. So, I mean, now, like for people who don't know what it is, and I'm going to admit my ignorance. The first time I came across, and I think she was also from Cameroon, a researcher, was from a different program, the Science by Women program. And I was interviewing her and I was like, wait, leishmaniasis. And the only time I had heard of it, about the disease, I think it was maybe on a TV ad, and it was like for pets or something, like don't let your dog get this, or how to treat this disease and whatever. And I was like, wait, this affects people? I wasn't aware. So I want you to walk me through why someone like me in Spain would think that this is a disease only affecting pets. When it's not real, it's affecting so many people in different parts of the world.
Yeah, I think maybe the case of Spain or maybe other country in Europe is like the pet, the people get all the information in the veterinary, like session. So they think that this is just only the pet. They don't have like some human case around them to see that this is something that can affect human too. But for example, in the pet, we have like in the visceral one that I was talking about, there are two types, you have like one that can come from animal too, but that can affect human. And you have another type, I will put apart the name, like the difficult name to because
explain science as if you're talking to a 13-year-old who's very interested.
Exactly. So we have like different. So there are some parasite too that is like they know that they come from the animals, but this still affecting human. And we have the one that we know that this is from human but affecting human too. Okay. So I think in Spain the misunderstanding there was like, okay, we have pet, we made a lot of advice.
Treatments and prevention. So
all this media run in the vet and everything. So people is like, I'm like sitting in my room and I see everything they put like dog. I'm sure that this is something for dog. It's not for me. But in Spain now, we need to know that we have case, and with all this warming that we are saying, like, okay, the climate change, like. We need to know that now.
You are burning through all my questions.
You are not like we are not like saying that, okay, this disease is just for people from there, Yeah. So this is something that is potential to be reality. To be like a big reality here. Even in Spain, it's like some case the burden is not so like high like in Africa. In Africa is East Africa that is very reported as like a part where the burden is so high. But in Spain too, we are having case. So
let me pause there for a second so I can understand. Yeah. Because I just said like you're burning through all my questions. So
sorry.
No, I mean it's good. It's good because you're passionate and you're knowledgeable. So I mean it is what it is. But let me pause there for one sec. So you were saying that we have cases, human cases in Spain.
Yes.
But is it because I read about it? Is it because of climate change? Like the rising temperatures are making those parasites go to like different altitudes? So it's different parts of Europe, or has always been there? Because how come, just like for me to understand, which I'm not a science person, for me to understand, like in a country like Spain, leishmaniasis would be a disease that your pet can catch, but you wouldn't even worry about it being dangerous for yourself.
Okay.
But what makes it dangerous, for example, in Eastern Africa? What is that? What is the difference in context that makes it being a real disease affecting people versus here in Spain?
Well, maybe here in Spain, the climate is different from the region, For example, in León, where I'm now, it's like maybe too cold. It's like cold. Not too cold, because right now, too, it's like hot. Because sometimes they say in the group, like, no, before it was not like that, Before we have like some snow, this kind of thing. So,
Yeah,
but
climate
right now,
change.
the climate change. So I think this is the reason why maybe in Spain now you begin to have like this kind of case. And a part of it, of the climate change, people are not like in one place. People are traveling. We are already like one world. So I go to make my holiday, for example, in Africa. I have this phlebotom giving me, and I can bring back to the case here. So we can have those cases that is coming because someone was traveling in those country that are affected with the thing. But we can have case too that the phlebotom, the vector that bite you and give you the disease is here too, because even in my group there is like a student making his research is focused on this, to look for all the vector, if there is a vector in Spain, to make like a cartography, like to see if the vector, where there is like the vector the vector that can potentially transmit like this disease, to see like if they already found here. So having all this will maybe make like have like more understanding of what is going on in Spain. I cannot say already like in my small understanding, because my
small understanding.
Yeah.
Cathy, you're selling yourself short.
It's like, because there is a research going on. So, but the thing is like, some case already reported from Spain.
Mm-hmm.
So meaning that this is not just a disease that we need to think that it's just for the region far away for us, because when something is far away from us, we are not interested. This is not about like Western, this is human, if I heard like there is something happened there,
it's far.
But
far.
Yeah, exactly. But
nothing is no longer far.
Yeah, so this is what I want to say now. We need to think like global health is like this thing that is a burden in one part of the world can be a burden too here, So it's more to be like prepare, not just be reactive, but prepare all this. So preparing all this is like research, everything, connection, like we were talking before, make this bridge that is very strong, between South and North, so South and North. So this is this kind. This is my.
This is kind of circles back to what you were saying about not thinking that tropical diseases don't affect us, and that we live in a globalized world. So anything that is happening on the other side of the world can become a reality very quickly. 12-hour flight. It's here. So thinking that is happening over there and we don't care, but is it? And this is kind of a question more for you, Cristina. Do you think that when these kind of diseases start happening in the West, then we tackle them differently and then they become a priority because they stop being diseases over there and they start affecting the West when it comes to global health agendas? And
yeah, it's true, but it happens with COVID, no? It's like I believe that it could also happen, but it's not like the priority. It means like it depends a lot, because if like the research is focused on maybe there is like a global North researcher that come there and take the data and come here and publish and whatever, that will be like also a priority for them, no? It means like it depends of the priority globally, but I don't believe that if they can affect that, like we can worry about that, but it depends also if the funding. I believe that the research agenda where we are, the global forum, I believe that is that the more focus. It depends. We have like a vertical program related to HIV, related to other diseases, and we try to move that because there is like a lot of integration. The term neglected tropical diseases was found in 1997. That was the World Health Organization that tried to connect everyone because they need to call for funds, no?
Okay.
So, and that's the reason why they try to group a lot of diseases they don't have a lot of funds, so they decide to, okay, maybe we can do like a call of anyone that maybe they can help to us. And I believe that that is all about political movement to a side, to another side.
I see. I want to take a moment and shift towards something that I think is very important to the Women for Africa Foundation and for Anesvad when it comes to La Beca de Todas, which is gender. Cathy, I read online that you are part of a group at the University of León where 90% of the team is women.
Mm-hmm.
And when I read it, I was surprised. So I kind of want to know if it's normal for me to be surprised. Is mostly women and mostly women lab still something not usual? Is it the first time that you working with a mostly women lab?
I don't think so. I think just the thing, the gender inequity, we begin to is visible in the leadership position. In the lab like this, we are like lot. It's like there is a lot of women involved, like in research, very skilled, very. But in the position like leadership position, bueno, this is where like you can see now a big gap. Like you say, in my group, we were like a lot of women, but maybe in 10 years, I would like to know, all these women that was in my research group in the moment of making my PhD, if they are taking like leader position or not. This is the thing. So this is the question. So for me, I think people tend to think that women maybe is not like very involved. They see just men, in leader position. They think that maybe in the background, it's like a lot of men. But no, like the reality is not that. It's like women. Even in my class, I remember when we make like a science, making my master and everything, there was few men in class. I remember in A Coruña, I think maybe there was 3 or 4 guys in the master. The same in Cameroon when I was making my master. It's like most was women. But then from all those women, essentially, you will see those few men. This was the people who will reach, the leader position. Yeah. So this is the thing. So having this is the reality of the field, but leader position, it will be different.
That brings me to my next question, because I read on that article that the group believes that caregiving responsibilities still slow women's career progression. So do you agree on that? Does it resonate with your own experience?
I think yes.
Because you're saying...
yes, because, especially in Africa where women is like everything. You know what I mean? Women is like mother, is like, even you are a sister, they raise you like a mother, a grandmother and everything. So you need to take care of the family. So they put already this responsibility in your mind that, it's not just you, it's you, even your future family, if you will found something, and the family that you left behind you, like your, brother, sister. So this is the thing. I think women, we have like a heavy back.
Burden.
Yeah. So our back is more heavier than the one from men, because, and this is funny because I was even, I was even talking with like a scientist who like is already postdoc. It was a man from another country, like African country. And I just see there like, okay, women, if you begin to talk about maybe the project that you want to go like this, talking about research, everything about academic, they say, no, you begin to have like a long eyes, they think. So this kind of word, you say, okay, So even someone that is already well educated, is still thinking that, no, women, you're already good here, don't push more, like it's okay, you see. But you will never see this, like, if a man begin to have like this kind of idea, trying to put, people will not say that you are too much. No, it's like, okay, we see a leader. This is
motivated.
Good. But if you say women, it's like, bueno, some will see good, but the majority of the people is like, okay, so we have this. So having the responsibility to take care about family, for other women to have like children and everything, this affect the way that women can grow, But even with that, women are still like, very strong and pushing, like, I do it, but I will pursue my dream, my passion. So, yeah, so this is the reality.
And how do we tackle this imbalance?
How?
In your experience, how do we tackle this imbalance? Because you're saying that there's a lot of women working in labs, but then maybe, and this happens to us when we're doing projects, for example, with universities, and it's like, I go to classrooms and it's 80% women.
Yes.
And then I go to the department and it's all men. all professors, and then maybe one woman
Yes.
at the department. And it's like, okay, we need to know what's happening here, because this is a huge gap.
Yes.
Like, how come they graduated and they're doing their PhD programs, etc., but then you go to unis, you go to have meetings with people leading teams and leading departments, etc., and women are nowhere to be seen.
Like if I take, for example, the example that I was saying before, like women begin maybe to doubt, to, like if they, like some men of people say that, okay, you are too much, because you have like ambition, you are like having a vision, because ambition maybe will sound negatively, but I'm talking in the positive way, you have like a vision, and they say, so the women begin to feel like, okay, I'm not, maybe I'm not the right person, I'm not good, because they
start
always,
doubting themselves.
exactly, they always say around them like, like this is this kind of thing. So this is one thing. Second thing is like women too, we need to support each other. You know what I mean? It's like, this is another thing, because if there is like 90%, for example, is women, and we need to make like a vote to choose someone, why it will be the men that we choose and not the women? So between us, we are not supportive too. So this is this could be like a second thing that we need to look. And maybe this is because it's the beer in the head of women, thinking like, okay, myself, they always told me like, okay, I'm not saying myself, Cathy, like talking about like any woman, like saying that, okay, they always told me that you are too much, you cannot, like this leader position not for you. But if you see like voting, you see women, you will see like a mirror in front of you. You will see like, well, no, she's like me, like, so you will go for the man. So this thing, so this third part, maybe we need to educate, we need to empower women in the way to say that, trust you, like you can, like the leadership is not just for men, you were making the same formation like this person. Sometimes they are very even well equipped, than men, but they feel just like they don't fit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And this comes back to one thing that I think it doesn't matter how it manifests in different countries, but it's always the same idea of like women, we've been taught to be humble. And when you said ambitious, and then you corrected yourself and said ambitious in the good sense, ambitious as
justifying myself,
you justify being ambitious, when I've never heard a man say ambitious, but I mean ambitious as I want to succeed in, like I don't want to be. And it's so funny because at the end of the day, it may manifest in different ways. Maybe in a different context, one must tell you, oh, you're being too much. And maybe in another context, a man is not gonna go there because they know that they can get into trouble. So they're not going to tell you you're too much, but it's going to be like different microaggressions that let you know that you're being too much. So I think when it comes to programs like La Beca de Todas, that has this partnership with Learn Africa, etc., it is important because it kind of brings, and helps you build that confidence, which is important. And sometimes we say, well, it doesn't really matter. You just need to have the skills. Well, skills is not the only thing that we need for women to succeed. So maybe Cristina and Beatriz, you can chime in and tell us a little bit of how these programs kind of impact the success of African women scientists in a world that doesn't always want us to succeed.
Exactly.
Well, I think I will delve into what Cathy was saying before about inspiration. As many of the women researchers and students that we have here in Spain through the Learn Africa program, after the scholarships, they become inspiration, they become mentors, and they become role models for other African women. And so these women inspire other counterparts to get involved in the same adventure, so to speak. And so that's a way to show them that this is possible, that no matter what society thinks of you, perhaps they can say that you are careless of your family burdens if you just focus on yourself and your professional and academic promotion and performance. But at the end of the day, you don't have to care about what people says. You just have to trust in yourself, and of course think that what we are going to do is not only going to benefit your own life and your own career, but it will also have an impact on your community and the future generations that of African women, African scientists, and African leaders that will come. So you will become a role model for them, and your skills will be meaningful to them.
And I think that is important because at the end of the day, we, like, the foundation gives opportunities, but I think the networking aspect is also very important because you can feel very isolated in certain positions, and to see other African students, African researchers, whatever, other women that are going maybe through the same thing and who may feel inadequate at some point, or that they don't belong, or they just feel very alone. I think it is so good to see other women and be like, yeah, I'm going through the same thing. You'll be fine. Let's go grab a coffee and just, I don't know, talk, get it out there, and then just keep pushing. I think is very important. So I don't know, Cristina, what is the Anesvad's points of view?
I believe that the most important is like the diversity, because sometimes when we are focused on a man perspective, we are missing a lot of information. We are missing a lot of perspective, and we need that woman also share the knowledge that they have. And I believe that Mujeres for Africa is like they are creating like a lot of space to like a conference, like a congress, like many space where women that are involved in different scholarships, they try to be together, and we participate in such event, and I believe that is a good expertise and experience. And also we try to move women and to with them around some other space in Spain when there is like some conference or some congress, because I believe that is also an opportunity for them to share the knowledge and to share experience with another people, and for sure creating networks. That I believe that is the best important approach, the most important approach.
For sure. I think that when we talk about gender, because I think it's important for our listeners to realize why this matters, to talk about gender, is because the numbers are stark. Only about 2% of researchers in Africa are women. Less than 30% of executive roles in NTD organizations are held by women. And only 20% of these organizations have gender-balanced boards. So from where each of you sits, what is the actual cost of that imbalance? And I mean, we know it's unfair. So other than unfairness, what is the actual impacts of not having that diversity and not applying that gender perspective in science?
In my opinion, I think that this maybe make a beer, like in the way that they can manage like politics, because if I want to solve a problem, that concern like women, and I just have in my table men, I don't think with all the volunteer that they have, with all the knowledge, with all the good heart that they have, they have, to with the idea to solve the problem, they will miss a big part of the problem. So I think that this make like unbalance in the way so the shift the priority is something that will not be good for us, So we need the voice of women as well as the voice of men. So in this in the way we are not saying that women need to take all the thing. No, we need balance to have like a good, like if we're making brainstorming, having idea from women, from their perspective, from something that affects women, and having idea from men for something affecting or women too, it's not a bad thing, it's a good thing. So if the unbalance will make like priority will shift in something that will not benefit us. So this is my way, this is my thinking.
Cristina?
I believe that we are 50-50 or why, more or less.
It's important to say it.
And I believe like it's something about scientific excellence, no? We need to innovation, we need to create, we need to co-create together, because if not, we are missing, as we mentioned before, we are missing some big point of view that is so important to this balance and to really achieve the problem, no? With a good perspective, with an open perspective, and
well, I think when women are excluded from research, from science, I think science loses a lot. It loses perspective, it loses experiences, and of course it loses questions that need to be answered by science itself. So, and this is particularly important when we talk to global health, because women in many parts of the world today, women are particularly affected by some inequalities related to access to treatment and diagnosis that their male counterparts don't. So it is really, really important that they make part of these research institutions and decision-making bodies, so that science can solve the questions that also affect women today. And so I think it's not just a question of fairness, it's also a question of science quality. Unless women participate in science, it will not be able to respond to real world challenges, I think.
For sure. We're coming to the end. Cristina, Beatriz, and I would like for Cathy to chime in later. Given your experience in cooperation, what is one myth about Africa, science, or gender that you're tired of hearing and that you like to put to rest today?
Well, I think I'd love to do away with the myth, with the idea that Africa lacks talent. I hear it every day, and what I can say from my experience through the Learn Africa program is that Africa is full of brilliant researchers, of brilliant scientists, of brilliant students, particularly women. And what Africa lacks is not talent, it's access to opportunities. And that's where our mission, the Women for Africa Foundation mission, through programs such as Learn Africa, and of course La Beca de Todas de la Fundación Anesvad, becomes really relevant, because we remove those barriers preventing women women with talent from achieving their full potential. So please don't keep on saying that Africa lacks talent. Talent is out there. What they need is just opportunities.
Cristina?
I totally agree with you. Also, I believe that sometimes we think about Africa like a recipient aid, like, well, you will stay, we will come to you to help you. And I believe that is not the reality. The reality is like the lack of opportunities and the lack of sometimes of resources, and that is why they don't have these opportunities. But we don't need, like, they are passive, they are active, and they can bring to them their own solution. As well as pertaining to international collaboration, it means like they're not like bringing something and come back. It's like, it means more like about building solution together. It's not like a unidirectional, it's more like bidirectional. And we think that when we're speaking about solution, we need to co-create them and not create for our side and after come there and say that is the solution. I believe that is the most important myth that sometimes we think about, and that is not the reality. We need to think as a big part of us.
And the myths that you're talking about are very related to decolonizing cooperation itself.
Yeah,
exactly.
Cathy?
Myth, like, I will just say, like, talent exists, but visibility, this is what we need, like all these women of Africa that is there, they need just visibility, and be empowered with the social, like, initiative like Foundation Moral for Africa or Anesvad that I'm learning from, so this kind of thing. So we need visibility. Talent, I know there is people even more talented than me, I'm sure, and it's just visibility and opportunity, like Beatriz and Cristina said.
Cathy, Cristina, Beatriz, thank you so much. Thank you for being here, for your honesty, and for the work that you do. If this episode has made you think a little bit differently about NTDs, about science or gender in Africa, please share it, talk about it. And if you want to know more about the work of Women for Africa Foundation or Anesvad Foundation, we will share links in the description box. This is Pass the Line. I'm Antonina Cupe. Till next time.